Okay, and in this step we're actually going to be creating the bunker that'll be beneath the surface. And we actually don't need to see our skybox for creating this level, and it may just end up complicating things. So we're going to go ahead and make sure we're out of edit mode on our ramp here. We're going to select the skybox, we'll right click on it, and we'll go up to hide selection. And now we've successfully hidden the skybox. You'll see we still have our reference frame, 2 bases, and our ramp here. We're going to want to create the bunker that's going to be beneath that ramp. In this case we're going to do something just really simple. You can actually go in and make this more elaborate if you'd like. In this case we're just going to do it as one big room. We'll go into our creation tab, go into box, and in the top viewport we're going to drag out the size of the box that we'd like. Okay, we're going to give this a length of 1300 units even, a width of 1300 units, and we want to give it a height of 300 units. Now if you go into your perspective viewport you can see that we've created that there. And we're actually going to want to move it upwards on the z-axis there. And we'll just roughly match it out with the bottom of the tunnel. We'll make it just a little bit lower than that tunnel. Okay, and if you go into your modifier list here, you'll notice that we still have 3 length segments, 2 width segments, and 2 height segments. We actually don't need those for the purposes of this bunker here, so we're going to bring those all back down to 1. The reason that we had those is because when we created the box for the entrance to the tunnel there, those were the values that we had set up there, and it just defaulted to those values since that was the last thing we created. Alright, with this box selected, we're going to right click on it, go to convert to, and convert it to an editable mesh. Go into face selection mode, select the entire box, making sure ignore backfacing is turned off. Go into surface properties. We want to flip the normals on this. We want to give it a material of number 1 and clear all of the smoothing groups on that. So now you'll see that we do have the normals flipped on that, so we can see within the box there. And we're actually going to want to delete the face that is the 2 faces that are facing the entrance to the tunnel. So in face selection mode, we're going to turn on ignore backfacing, select those 2 faces by clicking the control key and clicking both of them, and press delete. And now we have deleted the face that'll be facing the entrance of the tunnel. Now we need to actually create faces that will make up this wall here. We deleted that wall because we needed a way to get into this room. Now we need to connect and attach that wall to our ramp here. So we're going to go out of face edit mode, select our ramp here, and we're going to want to, under edit geometry, click on attach, and then we're going to want to attach box number 2 to that. So now we've merged the entire thing here. We're going to want to create this wall here. So we'll go into polygon creation mode, click on create, and go through, and just like we've done before, create polygons, making sure not to cover up the entrance here. Okay, and now we have successfully sealed that off, and we have our room here. Now we're actually going to have to create another entrance to this. You always have to have 2 outs. It'd be unfair for the players to just have 1 out here, and that way you're setting up an ambush situation there. So we're going to want to select the faces that make up the other side of the box, and we're going to want to go ahead and delete those. And now that we have those deleted, we're actually going to want to make a copy of this box, and we're going to want to mirror it. So we're going to turn off face selection, and up at the top toolbar here you'll see 2 triangles that are being mirrored. If you mouse over, a little mouse tooltip window will drop down saying mirror selected objects. That's what we want to do, so we'll go ahead and click on that. And we do want to make a copy, so in clone selection we'll click copy, and we're going to want to mirror the axis on the we want to mirror on the x-axis, so that's fine. We'll click OK, and now we have a copy of the box. So now we have 2 of those boxes and 2 of those ramps. Now we're going to want to attach the boxes, so you just bring it in as close as you can get it to the other box without overlapping there. And then under Edit Geometry, click Attach, select the second box, and now these 2 boxes have become one, and we're going to want to weld the vertices that make up where the edges meet here. So we'll just go into Vertex Edit mode, turn on Ignore Backfacing, and simply go through and select the 2 vertices that are together and click Weld Selected. If your welding threshold is turned down and you select 2 edges, you are going to get an error that says no verticals within welding threshold. If that happens, you can just do 2 things. The first thing that you want to do is make sure that you have the 2 verticals or vertices selected, that you don't have one that's up close to you and one that's 100 units away that you're trying to weld together, because that's never going to work, and that's probably not what you meant to weld together in the first place. So you're going to want to make sure that you only have 2 vertices selected, and they are the 2 vertices that you have. And then at that point, if that is the case and you want to bump up your welding threshold, that's fine. I'd recommend just selecting one of the vertexes and moving it closer to the other and then welding them. But in this case we're fine, so we're just going to go through and weld all of these. Okay, and now we have one complete box here. Everything's been welded together. We're actually going to want to make this quite a bit smaller. Just to see where we are at on the level, we're going to go out of vertex selection mode. We're going to right click and go up to unhide all. And now we've unhid our skybox here. We're going to want to drop this down and move it over just to see where we are at making this fit here. And it looks like we're entirely too wide. So with our tunnel here selected, we're going to go into vertex selection mode, turn off ignore backfacing, and select one edge of the tunnel and bring it over to the right, making sure not to overlap that middle set of vertexes or vertices that we created here. We don't want to overlap that, because then you'll be coming up with degenerated triangle errors. And then it looks like we're as close as we really want to get on that side. We'll just bring this side over as well. Okay, that looks good right there. So we are going to go out of vertex selection mode. We're going to want to drop this box down a little bit more. And just drop it down to about the level of the skybox here, just so it's poking up just a little bit above the ground. Alright, I've done this to show you something that we're going to have to actually look out for. We don't want to have any part of this box poking up above the ground, so we're actually going to have to select some of these vertices and drop them down a little bit. That would make up the roof, because as soon as you start poking it above ground like that, then again you're going to come up with some triangle errors. So we're just going to want to go into vertex selection mode and make sure ignore backfacing is turned off, and we will select all of the vertices that make up the top of or the roof of the bunker there, and we're going to want to drop it down just a little bit, just so that we don't run into that problem. When you're creating your own tunnel, you can do all sorts of things to try to minimize the triangles that would be overlapping. This is just one of the ways that you can do it. You could also make the tunnel go down a little bit steeper, but in this case I don't want to go much steeper than that because it looks like we're at about 35 to 40 degrees right there. If I go much steeper than that, Master Chief, again, he won't be able to climb back up, and that would be a bad thing. So it looks like we're good right here. At this point we're going to save, and in the next step we're actually going to be doing the same thing that we did with the bases, where we attach the tunnel system to the level itself, delete the faces around the entrances to the tunnel, create new faces, and then we'll be exporting it and testing it out in our level.